7th Zoning and Planning Commission meeting to order. I'd like to have... 7th.
Yes, you're right.
Just IT issues, so. All right, clerk, please call the roll to establish a quorum.
Chairman Grieshop.
Here.
Commissioner Albertson. Here. Creviston.
Here.
Hereley. Here. Licht. Patnaude. Sandoval. Quorum is present.
Okay, I'd like to open the floor to any public comment from any of the audience members of anything not related to the hearings being presented to us tonight. If anyone has anything they'd like to address us with. Seeing none, we'll move on. I'd like to seek an approval of the minutes from the last planning and zoning meeting from our commissioners, so I need a motion and a second, please.
A motion to approve.
Albertson made a motion.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Creviston. Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Albertson.
Aye.
Creviston.
Aye.
Grieshop.
Aye.
Hereley. Patnaude.
Aye.
Sandoval. All ayes. Motion carries.
Okay. First item on the agenda tonight is for the planning and zoning is an open hearing for Octavio Salinas. The petitioner is seeking, along with the owners Brian Franklin and Jeff Franklin, conditional use pursuant to section 14.3 of the Harvard Unified Development Ordinance to operate a body modification establishment, which is a tattoo establishment. Subject property is commonly known as 36 North Air on the second floor. Clerk, was the notice of hearing per statutory requirements published in the Northwest Herald?
It was.
Were the certified notices sent to the property owners within 250 feet of the subject property?
They were.
Was the certificate of publication completed? A certificate of publication, completed petition, and staff report entered into the record?
They were.
Okay, thank you. Staff, do you have anything to add at this time? Nothing further. Parties for the petition present? Would you please step forward and be sworn in by Commissioner Clerk Logan?
Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Octavio Salinas, 1307 Willow Lane, Harvard, Illinois.
Okay, tell us what's going on.
So my current address of business is 360 South Division Street, Suite number 7, and I'm just trying to relocate my business to 36 North Ayer Street.
Okay. Pretty much that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you started out, as we read, you started out down on Air Street behind the barber shop?
Yes, correct.
And then you moved out to 14 into the strip mall,
Yes.
and now you're coming back to the 36 North Air.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Roughly how many appointments a day or a week do you see?
I have my seasons, mostly I get busier probably during tax season.
Okay.
And it gets a little slower during fall season also, So I'd say in my busy season, I could probably see like 3, 4 little small ones,
Sure.
Maybe one big one the whole day or something. The whole week, sometimes I'll tattoo maybe 3 or 4 times a day, sometimes 0, So.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions for Octavio?
Are you the only one operating currently?
Yes.
Okay. And then with the new location, would you have plans to potentially have more than one seat available?
Yeah, I like to have a guest artist come along too sometimes, so I will have another station in case that happens.
And then the location, from at least as far as you can tell, meets like your space requirements for what you're trying to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, we need a motion for his petition.
I'll motion.
And you make a motion to accept
Yes.
as proposed?
Yes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Albertson. And clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Creviston.
Aye.
Grieshop.
Aye.
Hereley. Patnaude.
Aye.
Sandoval. Albertson.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you.
This will come again before the city council on the October 28th? October 28th for its final approval.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll close that hearing. And we'll open up the second hearing this evening, which is somewhere. Yeah, I know, but I gotta read it. Okay, it's for Harvard Nutrition Incorporated. The petitioner, Harvard Nutrition Incorporated, along with the Anton and Shirley Stricker Trust, Kurt Stricker trustee, are seeking a variation from pursuant 14.3 of Harvard Unified Development Ordinance from height requirements set forth in section 7.3 and an amendment to zoning regulations or district classifications pursuant to section 14.2, requesting that the subject property be reclassified from R6 and B1 or B2 to M1. And those three properties are that are wanted to be reclassified are 01-34-100-005, 006, and 01-34-200-038. That property is commonly known as 100 Potomac Way. Are the petitioners present? And if you're going to testify, please step forward and be sworn in. Any one of you, if it's just one of you or all three of you, well,
Yeah,
then
we're all three gonna-
come on up and put your hands up.
All right.
You swear that the testimony you're about to give to this commission will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
I do.
All right, addresses from each one of you, please.
Go ahead.
My name's Scott Jameson. My address is 787 Wolf Trap Road, Charlottesville, Virginia.
Okay,
I'm Slade Snyder. My address is 2059 Hopedale Avenue in Charlotte, North Carolina.
okay.
Jan van Marwijk Foy, 25655 North Countryside Drive in Lake Barrington, Illinois.
Okay, thank you. Whoever wants to proceed, go ahead.
All right. Well, just to reintroduce myself, I'm Slade Snyder. I'm the CEO and founder of Harvard Nutrition. I want to start by just telling you all that on behalf of my whole team that we're really grateful for the opportunity to speak today and to discuss what we're planning hopefully to do here in Harvard. So as you can see from the slide, who is Harvard Nutrition? Well, what we are is we are a planned, dedicated toll manufacturing facility that will focus on facilitating the growth of the infant formula industry based here in the U.S. What that means is that we're building a facility, a large-scale facility that will be capable of making other infant formula brands underneath our facility, which is what's badly needed in the U.S. infant formula market. We've kind of summarized our core company values down there in the bottom right, but first and foremost, we're brand neutral, so we're going to work with brands across the country. I'm going to speak a little bit about that in a second. We're going to focus on quality. That's one of the big hurdles in the infant formula world, quality and sanitation practices, which is what's led to the market opportunity that we're entering into. We're also going to be innovative. We're going to promote healthy nutrition for babies, for the nation's most vulnerable, and we plan on being a good partner here in the community of Harvard. So, I won't read through all these bullet points, but why the market needs more production capacity. I mean, the short answer is that the market badly needs more production capacity. If any of you guys had kids in the last 5 or 6 years, you know that there was a major shortage of infant formula a few years ago. It was precipitated by a contamination outbreak in there's only a couple of facilities like this in the United States that make infant formula. There was a contamination outbreak in one of those, and as a result, families were unable to get formula to their babies at the time. The response was the White House allowed European companies that had, up until that point, had not gained FDA approval to be able to come in, kind of get an exemption with the FDA to be able to get infant formula to American families. That really has not changed. That exemption has expired, although the White House has not enforced it because there still is a lack of production capacity here in the U.S. The other piece of it is that since there's a lack of production capacity, there's also a major lack in innovation in the space. The facilities that are out there are old, outdated, and they're really making poor quality formula for as I mentioned earlier, for the nation's most vulnerable. These are babies, and it's the sole source of nutrition for babies that are fed infant formula. So when it's a product that's lacking, it has the potential to really affect that baby. So these are the business cases as to why we're doing this, but it's also personal for me. I don't know, any of you were in here a couple weeks ago when we presented to the council, but I started this company and started my kind of journey in the infant formula world 6 years ago. I won't get too deep into it, but my wife had the delivery of my first, we have 2 kids now, these are my kids. My son on the right was born healthily, but my wife experienced a postpartum hemorrhage during delivery, so she was immediately transferred to the ICU. She had to have 3 blood transfusions, and as a result, my son started his first day of life on formula. The upshot is the formula being fed to my son was of very poor quality. It was bad enough where the attending surgeon and the nursery thought there may be a physiological blockage in my son's GI tract, which required surgery to potentially address. That surgery did not address the problem because the problem wasn't a block in his GI tract. The problem was the formula that my son was being fed was of such low quality that his GI tract would just rejected it. So that started me on a desperate, parent's journey of trying to find a formula that my son would tolerate. Candidly, never really found that solution. There were some opportunities, and there was ability to get formula from Europe, which went, partially there towards addressing that. But at some point along the way, I realized that what the world needed was a better made formula. And what that needed was more facility production capacity in the United States. So that's how it's been a long journey, and that's how we got here today, which is why I'm excited to be speaking with you today. So I'm going to hand it over to, I think Jan's going to take over and talk about the community impact, and then Scott's going to speak a little bit more about the specifics of the facility itself.
Thank you, Slates. To put the story in perspective in terms of the number of facilities that are in the States, there are less than 10 facilities in the States today that are making infant formula. So when we hopefully are able to realize this big project here in Harvard, Illinois, it will be national news. We will be on the news for sure. We're pretty sure about that. It's also a big commitment from our side. We're talking a total investment of about $100 million project. So it's a significant investment in the community as well. But what probably is most important for the city and people living in and around Harvard is that we intend to create about 130 full-time jobs in Harvard. It will attract for sure highly skilled labor that we're looking to source from Harvard. We know there's a history of dairy in Harvard, so we believe there is still knowledge and people that could definitely be part of the labor pool at this facility. And hopefully we won't be alone, and it will attract other businesses to the business park when they see what Harvard, Illinois has to offer to businesses. And Harvard has a lot to offer, we believe. Oops. There. Since we've been here and been talking to people, we've looked around, we found a very pro-business environment in the city, which is rare. People are excited, people would like to see this project, we believe, in the city of Harvard. And like I said earlier, there is definitely a heritage of people from the Dean's facility that would be welcoming to come back into a food nutrition facility. And this is going to be this is not just a regular food facility, it's probably one of the most regulated facilities that will be existing in the U.S. with the other facilities that produce infant formula. The other thing which is great, there are a lot of business incentives under consideration. We receive excellent support from the McHenry Economic Development Council that guide us through applying for some of these credits. And the first credit, the EDGE credit, we've already been approved, which is an exciting part for us to pitch for this case. We also have a representative here of a local contractor that is very familiar with Harvard, that has built, I think, two facilities already here in Harvard, and has obviously the connections with local subcontractors. What's also going to be unique, we believe, is that this facility will make infant formula from fresh milk, and as well as for powder, which is new in the U.S. Most of the other facilities, they start with powder, then make a liquid, and then turn it back into powder. We are anticipating to source both cow milk as well as goat milk in the local area, that we will process it as this facility. That will be a first here in the U.S. And last but not least, it's centrally located with great access to major highways to distribute products nationwide. So I would like to hand it over to Scott, who's going to talk more technically and show you a little bit more detail about the facility itself.
Thanks, John. Hi, my name's Scott Jameson. I mentioned that earlier. So I have around 25 years or so experience in infant formula. I started in 1998 with a startup company at the time. There were three of us, and we were a distributor of products made by a company called Wyeth, and they had a brand in the U.S. called SMA. They were leaving the U.S. market, and we launched store brand infant formulas. So we created a brand for Walmart called Parents' Choice, a brand for Target called Up and Up, and as he goes we did all the club stores, Walmart, Target, BJ's, all the grocery stores, and all the chain drug stores. So we were, and the reason we were able to be successful with that was that infant formula sold by the major brands is sold at a very high price, at very high margins by those companies. And the retailers don't make any money selling infant formula. It's not marked up, or it's marked up in low single-digit amounts, because infant formula is a destination item. It's what mothers will go to the store to buy, and then they fill their basket. Families, not just mothers, and families will go, and it gets them in the store. It creates the foot traffic. So the retailers would comp price each other's pricing, and their retail costs went down, and they literally, when we started, they were losing tens of millions of dollars selling infant formula. And we came in and we gave the retailer a reasonable margin. We saved families 40% off of the major retail brands, and we had a very successful business that was supported by the retailers because they wanted us to succeed. We bought the factory from Wyeth that was making our products in 2002, and I ran that factory for our company for several years. Since we were small, at some point I think I had every job that there was in the company, but I'm heavily involved in the manufacturing side, the quality side, the operational side of the business, and in product development. So we then bought another factory in 2003 from a company called Kerry, and converted that plant into an infant formula factory, which is a completely different operation than a normal dairy plant. And then that business was sold by our company to a company called Perigo in 2010, and I became the general manager of nutrition for Perigo for another 7 years and ran the business for them. And we went from 230 employees to 1,200 employees in that time frame, and sold our products in 23 countries around the world. So we had a really good business, and I left in 2017 and began to be a consultant in the industry. I met Jan in 2019 and worked with a company that he was affiliated with and developed an infant formula with a goat's milk infant formula, where we've done a clinical study on it, and it's now at the FDA being reviewed for approval to be launched in the market. And it will be because all the study results came out the way we wanted to see them come out, so we felt really good about that. I met Slates a couple of years ago, and he told me his background and his, I guess, desire to really get into this business. And so we began to have a dialogue as well, and so here we are now. But, you know, the comment Slate's made about, and Jan too, about the industry, it's really concentrated in a couple of major companies who haven't invested in their factories for years and years and years. And that's why they have problems with these quality issues, because they have factories that were built 50 years ago, and they haven't kept them up to the elevating standards for the industry, particularly in microorganism control. And I know I'm going a little long in the background, but we are designing this facility to be state-of-the-art, meeting the FDA's new requirements for these kinds of facilities. And we know what they need. The equipment companies now are designing to the current standards, and we'll be able to do that where the other guys are dealing with 50-year-old facilities that aren't laid out the right way. And we already talked about goat's milk and products. And the other thing is we're designing this plant to be flexible enough to meet the needs of our customers. My old company, Perigo, we made contract manufacturing products for some companies. They stopped doing most of that at this point, so there's pent-up demand in the market. And I know how to, the dryers are designed to be flexible to meet different levels of volume as needed for the customers. This is kind of the crux of one part of our application, and that is that the dryers are high relative to other types of operations. Every infant formula plant that you'd see in the United States that makes powdered infant formula will have a tower, what we call it, the dryer tower, that'll be somewhere around this height, if not taller. And we've got a design for a new dryer. This is, you know, still a little preliminary, but we're pretty comfortable that we can live with this kind of a maximum height. But if you don't have this height, you can't put a dryer in, which means you don't have a facility to run. So there's not an alternate design that's available. And so that's one of our requests, is to allow for a variance on the height of the building to allow us to do the dryer and some of the blending operations that we plan to do. This is the process for infant formula. You start with either liquid, as Jan alluded to, about using liquid milk, or powdered ingredients, powdered whey and powdered milk that you then liquefy and mix and put into a liquid slurry. You add oils to that and some micro ingredients, and then you homogenize it, you know, and pasteurize it to kill any bacteria. And then it goes into the drying tower, the dryer, to dry it and create powder out of that. So up to that point, the product is sterile. After that point, it's not sterile. It's not protected as sterile. So you have to dry blend it, and you have to package it in effectively a clean room, like a really highly specialized zone with pressure controlled air. You know, only certain people can go in there. When they go in, they have to have the right gowning on. This plant will have 7 different zones in it for different levels of hygienic standards as people kind of go through. And if a person's going to go into the drying room and work on into the packaging room, they're going to have changed their clothes 3 times by then and wash their hands about 12 times. And they'll go in there fully gowned up, and it'll be, it'll be keyed access. You only get into that room if you have clearance in order to do so. So it is a challenging product to make, and if you don't have the right layout, design, and equipment and controls, you're going to have a problem. And that's what caused that big problem at the Abbott plant a couple of years ago. This shows you the dryer. This is just a schematic of, it's not exact yet, but it's pretty close. And it just shows you what it is that, what this kind of equipment looks like. It's pretty massive, and it's all stainless steel, and it's all internally controlled, so that, even any excess powder that comes out of the first drying stage gets recirculated and goes back in from another stage. It's recaptured and used in the process. The other part of our application is for some rezoning. The map on the right shows the current zoning for the parcels, and part of it's M1, but we also have B2 and, I forget the other one, residential. So our request here is to make the whole parcel that we would like to develop as a M1 zone. That's that. And then here's our timetable. We're hoping to have final site selection. We've got an agreement with the Stricker Family Trust, but we have to get things completed like the rezoning and height variances and some other due diligence that we're completing right now. We would plan to have our architectural plans done and pre-construction completed by the end of the second quarter of 2026. And then we would start site work in the third quarter with a plan to have the first phase of the project done in the fourth quarter of 2027, and then the first spray dryer installed in the first quarter of 2028. So it's a pretty big project. It takes a little bit of time. We have done a lot of work already. We've got our vendors, we have selected vendors or preferred vendors that we've worked with, and we have preliminary designs on all the equipment and a little bit of the layout of the facility with an architect that we've been working with who has experience in this kind of a project with this kind of business. As John mentioned, this is the most heavily regulated food product in the United States, and in some ways it's more heavily regulated than pharmaceuticals because the FDA is in your plant inspecting every year for infant formula, and they don't have to go to pharmaceutical plants less frequently every 3 years. And they're usually in there more than once a year for some reasons. But anyway, that's our schedule, and this is just a summary of our requests for variances for the building height up to 130 feet, and then consistent M1 zoning for the entire parcel. And, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I'm sorry I rambled at the beginning about my background, but I wanted to make sure you had
We'll let you go.
had a good sense that we have, we know what we're doing, and we will be able to do this project.
Commissioners, do we have any questions for the gentleman?
With the current plan?
Yeah.
Do you know what the square footage is of the facility versus what the property is?
The square footage of the building will be between 100 and 120,000 square feet. Probably around 110 would be what I would guess, but that would be the general range of the size of the building. The parcel is,
The combined land we're looking at is somewhere between 20 and 25 acres.
yeah.
Okay.
So I don't, if you're thinking about coverage ratios, I don't think we're going to have any problem with building coverage for the overall site.
Do you know what timeline you're looking at for, to get to open?
Yeah, so this kind of lays it out a little bit, but we would hope to be breaking ground, late next spring into the summer, and then we would hope to be completed with the first phase for the building envelope and packaging at the end of 2027, and then the first dryer would be put in and would be installed and ready to operate in the beginning of 2028. Once you put it in, you have to get it validated and get it approved by the FDA before you can start it. So those are our current estimates, and they're they're not overly aggressive, but things have to go smoothly to make that happen.
Ultimately, who's the,
Yeah.
I think what you're asking is when will the operation start, right?
Right, like when will,
Right.
and people start.
Okay.
Basically at the end of '27.
Yeah,
So we will continue then to install the dryer and the wet processing part, but we will be operational in end of '27 and producing product there.
right.
And Mike, you had something you were saying?
well, just curiosity more so than anything. Ultimately, who's the building owner when you're done?
We will be.
You will be.
Yeah.
Will you be the landowner as well?
Yes.
So you will be buying the property from the Stricker Trust?
Yes.
Okay. Because I can see, I've seen it both ways. We have other businesses in Harvard where they're a lessee and somebody else is holding the property, so.
Yeah, that was considered, but it's kind of cleaner and easier. We'll
Sure. Okay.
on the land, building, we'll probably have a separate it's holding company for the
Sure.
property itself, but it'll all be Harvard Nutrition.
Any considerations on the 130 feet? I know you're well in the limits of the FAA requirements for marking and illumination of height. You're under 200 feet. Have you had any thoughts about the Dacey Airport nearby? I don't think you're close enough, but they do have a runway path through that way.
Yeah, so I'm Doug Curry with Stenstrom. We're based out of Rockford. We've consulted two different consulting firms that address that exact question that you asked there, that have experience with runways with direct pathways. This runway doesn't have a direct flight path to this property. It's more northwest to southeast of the current configuration, so the expansion that was being considered at the airport was taken into consideration with the lot selection. So it would not be a direct path. And then we also looked at the form, and they have already submitted the initial FAA paperwork.
Sure.
And then once the site is selected and the actual building footprint is picked out, then we have to provide the exact latitude and longitude on a separate form to the FAA for them to record that shows that we're within tolerance that you explained,
Sure.
less than 200 feet. But that can't be established until the exact latitude and longitude of the tower is established.
Good. Glad you've already done your homework. Commissioners, do we have anything else? We have one person in the public. Would you like to speak? Being a former and now a full-blown community member, and you're back there absorbing.
All good.
You're good?
Yep.
Okay. All right, Commissioners, we need a motion. We have two different things going on here. We need a motion for, which one we want to start with? We have a motion for the height variance, conditional use to go over 35 feet. Can I have a motion for that? We have a motion from Commissioner Hereley to approve it. We have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Jay or Elvis Patnaude. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Grieshop,
Aye.
Hereley, Patnaude.
Aye.
Sandoval. Albertson.
Aye.
Creviston.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries.
Okay, the second issue of their petition is to rezone the parcels described in their petition from R6 and B2 to all M1. So do I have a motion on that particular part of their petition?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion from Commissioner Albertson to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Hereley. Clerk Logan, please call the roll.
Commissioner Patnaude.
Aye.
Sandoval.
Aye.
Albertson.
Aye.
Creviston.
Aye.
Grieshop.
Aye.
Hereley.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries.
Okay, so both motions passes planning and zoning. You'll be in front of the city council again on, the date? The 28th of October.
East Chambers, 7 o'clock.
The same place as you've been here before.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation, and we wish you all the luck.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we will close that particular hearing, and Clerk, do you have anything to add as a report?
Only as pointed out that both of these will come before the city council on the 28th at 7.
Okay. Chairman's report, don't really have any, I guess. I don't have any. We have an unofficial one about payroll records, but
Be looked into.
that will be looked into, we're assured.
I just want to say thanks for your time, y'all. We look forward to being back on the 28th and head up, and we'll see you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, I move to close the planning and zoning meeting. I need a motion to close and a second.
I'll motion. I'll second.
Done. Clerk, call the roll.
All ayes?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Who made the motion on the adjournment?
Patnaude closed it and Albertson seconded, or vice